Imagine holding a single penny in your hand that looks almost ordinary. The same copper coin you've seen thousands of times in your life. You might toss it in a change jar, let it slip between the couch cushions, or hand it over at the checkout counter without a second thought. But what if I told you that this tiny piece of metal, something you might overlook every single day, could secretly be worth a fortune? Not just hundreds, not just thousands, but in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars, even pushing into the realm of millions. That's the haunting truth about the mysterious 1976 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin. And if you think you don't have one, think again. Because some of the rarest coins in American history are hiding in plain sight, quietly waiting to change someone's life overnight. The story of this elusive penny begins during a year we all remember for something else entirely. 1976 wasn't just any year, it was America's bicentennial, a time of fireworks, parades, and patriotic pride. The nation was celebrating its 200th birthday, and the U.S. Mint was under enormous pressure to produce coins that would carry the spirit of that milestone. Quarters, halves, and dollars were redesigned with special bicentennial images. But curiously, the humble Lincoln cent was left unchanged. On the surface, it seemed like just another penny, continuing the design that had been in circulation since 1909, and yet hidden within that year's production run. A handful of coins would emerge with a shocking anomaly. They were missing their mint marks. Now, to the casual eye, a missing mint mark might not seem like a big deal. After all, what's a tiny letter compared to the whole coin? But in numismatics, the absence of something that should be there is often the most valuable feature of all. Mint marks identify where a coin was struck. Denver with a D, San Francisco with an S, Philadelphia usually with nothing at all. But here's the catch. By the 1970s, Philadelphia was supposed to carry a mint mark on certain issues. When a coin comes out missing what it's supposed to have, it signals an error, and errors are where fortunes are made. Think about it. How many times have you jingled spare change in your pocket without even glancing at it? What if one of those coins was a rare 1976 penny with no mint mark? One that a dedicated collector might pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to own. It sounds like a fantasy, right? But the sales records don't lie. Auction houses have seen these rare cents climb to eye-watering numbers, with reports of coins in pristine condition reaching as high as $800,000. And when bidding wars break out among wealthy collectors, the prices can shoot up into territory most of us never thought possible for a penny. So why exactly is this coin worth so much? The answer lies in the psychology of rarity, desire, and human obsession. The 1976 no mint mark Lincoln cent isn't just a slip of the die. It's a tangible piece of history, a reminder that even the most rigid systems can falter, that perfection is an illusion, and that sometimes it's the mistakes that become the most treasured of all. Collectors crave these anomalies because they tell a story of chance and accident that could never be deliberately reproduced. Every missing mint mark coin becomes an artifact of a once-in-a-lifetime error. And those who chase them aren't just buying metal. They're buying a narrative, a legend, a chance to own what almost no one else has. But here's where the suspense deepens. Millions of 1976 pennies were struck, flooding into circulation across the country, which means the odds that a rare no-mint mark example is still hiding in someone's coin jar or lying unnoticed in a dresser drawer are very real. Could it be sitting in your house right now? Could you unknowingly be holding a piece of history so rare that collectors would line up to throw life-changing money at you? Imagine the scene. You're rolling pennies to take to the bank, bored out of your mind, and suddenly one coin catches your eye. Something seems different. You look closer. There's no mint mark. Your heart skips a beat. Could it be? Suddenly, you're not just holding a penny. You're holding a ticket out of debt, a college tuition, a new house, maybe even an early retirement. That's not a fantasy. For some, it has been reality. Of course, not every 1976 penny without a mint mark is going to be worth a fortune. Condition matters. Collectors pay top dollar for coins that are flawless, sharp details, gleaming surfaces untouched by decades of circulation. These are the coins that end up in airtight holders, examined under magnifying glasses, and showcased at auctions where the room buzzes with anticipation. But here's the twist. Even circulated coins with visible wear can still bring in surprising money if they are genuine, no-mint mark examples. That means your loose change, even if it's not sparkling like new, could be hiding a secret treasure. So what makes condition so critical? Picture two cars. One is a classic muscle car from the 1970s. Polished and pristine, the paint flawless, the interior untouched. The other is the exact same model, same year, but rusted, dented, and barely running. Which one would collectors fight for? The same logic applies to coins. A 1976 no-mint mark penny in poor shape might fetch a respectable amount. But in mint state condition, the bidding can skyrocket to astronomical levels. That's why experts always say, check your change carefully and check it often. Now, let's pause for a moment. Think about the sheer irony here. We live in a world where people spend hours scratching off lottery tickets, hoping for a 1 in a million chance at striking it rich. And yet, sitting quietly in someone's piggy bank could be a penny, a single cent, with odds that might be even better. And the payoff, just as life-changing. Isn't it almost funny? The universe has hidden little jackpots in plain sight, disguised as spare change. And most of us are too distracted to notice. But this isn't just about luck. It's about knowledge, awareness, and action. Every year, thousands of valuable coins slip past people who simply don't know what they're looking at. They spend them at the grocery store, dump them in coin machines, or give them to kids for candy money. And in doing so, they give away small fortunes without ever realizing it. That's the tragedy and also the opportunity. Because once you know the signs, once you've trained your eye, you're no longer at the mercy of chance. You become the treasure hunter in your own home. So what should you look for? First, check the date, 1976. Then, Check the mint mark area under the date. If it's blank where there should be a small D or S, your coin might be something extraordinary. But don't stop there. Look at the condition. Is it sharp and clear, or worn and faded? A magnifying glass can help spot subtle details. And if you think you've found a winner, resist the urge to polish it. Cleaning a coin can actually destroy its value. Instead, keep it safe and consider having it professionally graded by a reputable coin service. That's how you separate the truly valuable from the merely interesting. Now, here comes the most thrilling part. Every time you check your change, every time you sort through old jars, you're essentially buying a lottery ticket for free. There's no cost, no risk, no scratch-off dust. Just the possibility that the next coin you touch could be worth more than your car, more than your mortgage, more than some people make in a year. Isn't that worth a second look? And let's not ignore the urgency. Time has a way of erasing opportunities. As more of these rare pennies are discovered and locked away in private collections, the supply shrinks. Scarcity drives demand, and demand drives prices higher. But it also means your chances of finding one in circulation get slimmer with every passing year. The window is closing, and only those who act now, those who check, who search, who stay alert will have a shot at discovering one before they vanish completely into vaults and display cases. So the question is, will you be one of the people who lets this knowledge slip through your fingers? Who laughs it off as just another story? Or will you be the one who takes action, who checks every coin, who turns curiosity into potential fortune? Remember this. In 1976, millions of pennies were struck. Somewhere among them are a select few without their mint marks, coins that carry with them not just copper, but the weight of history, the thrill of rarity, and the power to change lives. They're out there, waiting, hiding in pockets, drawers, and coffee cans across America. And maybe, just maybe, one of them is waiting for you. So the next time you hear the clink of change, don't dismiss it. Don't shrug it off as worthless. Look closer. Because the ordinary might just be extraordinary, the overlooked might just be priceless. And that penny in your hand could be your doorway to a future you never thought. Possible that your fortune could be closer than you think. The only question is, will you notice it when it's staring back at you? Now, before you dismiss this as just another internet myth, let me ask you, how many pennies have passed through your hands in a lifetime? Hundreds of thousands, maybe millions. But what if just one of them, sitting unnoticed in a coffee can, hiding in a jar of change, or jingling around in the Q folder of your car, was the ticket to life-changing money? The story of the 1984 penny without a mint mark isn't just about copper and zinc. It's about history, chance, and the thin line between pocket change and fortune. And by the end of this journey, you'll know exactly what to look for, why this coin is so valuable, and why time is running out to cash in before opportunities slip away. So let's rewind. The year is 1984. Ronald Reagan is president. The Los Angeles Olympics are making headlines. And millions of Americans are walking around with Lincoln cents in their pockets. These coins, familiar and unremarkable, were minted by the billions. But hidden among the ordinary run, a tiny fraction slipped through with an extraordinary mistake. You see? Most Lincoln cents bear a small mark just below the date, a letter like D for Denver or S for San Francisco, indicating where the coin was minted. But in 1984, something unusual happened. A batch of coins left the mint without that little letter. No D, no S, nothing at all. Just the date and Lincoln's profile staring stoically forward. At first glance, it doesn't seem like much. But in the world of numismatics, that missing mint mark is a THUNDERCLAP. Why does it matter? Because mint marks aren't just decorative. They're identifiers, proof of origin. When one is missing, especially in a year when it shouldn't be, collectors go wild. Think of it like a misprinted baseball card or a rare first edition book with a typo. The flaw creates scarcity, and scarcity creates value. Now, here's the twist. Not every missing mint mark makes a coin valuable. Most people don't realize that millions of pennies naturally lack mint marks simply because they were struck in Philadelphia, where, for many years, the mint didn't use one. But the 1984 cent is different. The no mint mark version associated with staggering value comes from a very specific error tied to its production process. It's not just any Philadelphia cent, it's a needle in the haystack. A true rarity among billions. And here's where the suspense thickens. For decades, collectors have scoured their change, flipping penny after penny, searching for the elusive prize. Some gave up. Others swore it was a myth. But then the sales began to surface. Auction records revealed numbers that turned heads. Tens of thousands for high-grade examples. Hundreds of thousands for the rarest pristine specimens. And yes, that headline-grabbing report of a 1984. No mint mark sent fetching nearly $800,000 in the right condition. Pause for a moment and let that sink in. $800,000. For something you could mistake for a coin worth exactly 1 cent. It almost feels like a magic trick. But it's not magic. It's market demand. And in the world of collectibles, demand writes the rules. Now you might be wondering, why haven't I found one yet? And more importantly, how do I know if the pennies I've got stashed away could be worth a fortune? That's the million-dollar question. Literally, the key lies in details. A true 1984 no mint mark Lincoln cent must be authenticated, graded, and preserved in exceptional condition. Tiny scratches, where from circulation, even fingerprints can slash the value dramatically, which is why the few flawless survivors command astronomical sums. Let me put it this way. Imagine 2 houses on the same street. One is perfectly maintained, freshly painted, every brick pristine. The other has a leaky roof and peeling paint. Which one sells for more? Coins work the same way. Condition is king. And for the 1984 no mint mark cent, the throne is worth millions. But here's the chilling part. Every day, more of these potential treasures are slipping through fingers unnoticed. People cash in their jars of pennies at the bank, never realizing what they had. Coin machines gobble them up, spitting out a digital balance and erasing history in the process. What if your fortune was already spent by mistake? That's why knowledge is power here. The next time you sort through your change, remember, the 1984 penny you're holding could be worthless, or it could be your golden ticket. All it takes is a careful eye and the right information. Of course, this story isn't just about financial windfalls. It's about mystery. How did such an error happen? Why were only certain coins affected? And how did they manage to survive decades in circulation before being recognized for what they truly are? Questions like these keep collectors awake at night, hunting, speculating, obsessing. Because, in the end, the thrill of the chase is almost as rewarding as the prize itself. Almost, because let's be honest, we're not just in this for the thrill. We're in it for the payoff. And the payoff can be life-altering. Imagine paying off your mortgage, retiring early, or sending your grandchildren to college. All because of a single penny you discovered in an old desk drawer.
Sounds unbelievable.
But it's happening. Quietly. In auction houses, in collectors' forums, behind closed doors. Fortunes are changing hands, and all because of a coin smaller than a postage stamp. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Some of you might be thinking, is it too late? Have I already missed my chance? The answer is no. The market for rare coins is stronger than ever. In fact, as economic uncertainty rises, investors are pouring more money into tangible assets like rare coins. Demand is climbing, not falling. Which means if you do uncover a 1984 no-mint mark cent, your timing couldn't be better. But here's the catch. The clock is ticking. Coins wear down with each passing year. Circulation takes its toll. What might have been a six-figure treasure 20 years ago could now be a scratched-up curiosity worth a fraction. That's why urgency matters. The sooner you check, the better your odds of finding something extraordinary before it's too late. So where do you start? Right at home. Check your coin jars, your dresser drawers, your piggy banks. Ask older relatives if they have stashes of change tucked away. Many of the best finds come from collections saved in the 80s and 90s. And don't forget to examine every penny carefully. A magnifying glass helps. A steady hand is crucial. And if you suspect you found the real deal, get it authenticated by a reputable grading service before you do anything else. Think of it like uncovering a masterpiece painting at a garage sale. You wouldn't just slap it on eBay and hope for the best. You'd get it verified, insured, and sold through the right channels. Treat your coin the same way, because the stakes are high. And let's sprinkle in a dose of humor here, because, yes, hunting for rare pennies can get a little obsessive. You'll find yourself squinting at tiny letters under poor lighting, wondering if you're losing your mind. Your family might roll their eyes as you spend another evening hunched over change instead of watching TV. But remember this. People once laughed at gold prospectors too, until they struck gold. And when that moment comes, when you hold the rare 1984 no-mint mark, Lincoln cent in your hand, The laughter stops. Because you won't just be holding a coin. You'll be holding history, wealth, okay? And proof that even the smallest details can hold life's biggest surprises. So here's the final thought I want to leave you with. Every coin has a story. Most are ordinary, but a chosen few, can change lives. The 1984 No Mint Mark penny is one of those coins. And the next one to surface could belong to you. The only question is, will you recognize it when you see it? Because somewhere out there, tucked away in a jar, buried under dust in a shoebox, or resting unnoticed in a handful of change, the next $700,000 penny is waiting. And the clock is ticking, so the next time you hear the jingle of pennies in your pocket, don't ignore it. Don't dismiss it as just loose change. That sound could be destiny calling. The hunt is real. The stakes are high. And fortune favors the bold. Now go find your penny. So what kind of penny are we talking about? The 1987 Lincoln 1-cent coin with the small D mint mark beneath the year. At first glance, it looks ordinary, just another copper-colored coin from your pocket. But hidden within this humble piece of metal is a secret so powerful that collectors will fight tooth and nail, opening their wallets wide for the chance to own one. But here's the catch. Not every 1987 D penny is worth a fortune. Most are still only worth a cent. The magic lies in the details' tiny imperfections, rare conditions, subtle design quirks, and above all, the state of preservation. That's what transforms a forgotten coin into a financial lightning bolt. Before you dismiss this as too good to be true, ask yourself how many times have people casually spent pennies without looking, not realizing they might have let a life-changing windfall slip through their fingers. The stories are endless. Ordinary folks, some who had never even collected coins before, stumbled across one in an old cigar box or coin roll, only to discover it was worth more than their home. What would you do if you found one? Let's rewind a bit, because to truly understand why the 1987D Lincoln cent has captured so much attention, we need to step into the world of minting, collecting, and the strange economy of rarity. The U.S. Mint in Denver produced over 4 billion pennies in 1987. 4 billion. So how could any single one of them be special? Isn't it just like trying to find a needle in a haystack? Yes, San, that's exactly what makes them so valuable. When billions are produced, the rare flaws become even more significant. Imagine trying to pick out the one shining diamond hidden in a mountain of gravel. That's what excites collectors. Now, here's where the story gets interesting. Most people assume that only old coins, ancient relics from the 1800s have value. But the modern market has shattered that assumption. Coins from the 1980s and even the 2000s have fetched staggering prices at auctions. Why? Because collectors aren't just chasing age, they're chasing rarity, perfection, and demand. A flawless 1987D penny in what's known as mint state condition has reached record highs. One of the most jaw-dropping sales came when such a coin sold for a reported $785,000. Let that sink in. Something most people would sweep off the floor was suddenly more valuable than a Lamborghini. Now, I know what you're thinking. How could a coin minted in such massive numbers be worth that much? Isn't that impossible? Here's the secret. It's not just about survival. It's about condition, die varieties, and errors. Every so often, a coin escapes the mint with a tiny mistake, an off-center strike, a double die, a missing letter. To the untrained eye, it looks like damage. To a collector, it's gold. And then there's the matter of grade. Grading is like the coin's report card. Experts evaluate every tiny scratch, every gleam of luster, every whisper of wear. A 1987 penny, fresh from circulation, might only fetch a few cents. But a 1987 graded at the highest possible level of near perfect. Mint state 68 or 69s, almost mythic in its rarity. That's where the big money lies. Think of it this way. Billions were minted, but only a handful survived in flawless, untouched condition. Those survivors are like royal heirs among commoners. At this point, you may be feeling a mix of excitement and dread. Excitement, because you might already have one of these treasures hiding in your home. Dread, because how many times have you let a penny slip by, not realizing its value? Isn't that the cruelest thought? That wealth was once literally in your hand, and you gave it away without even knowing. But don't worry, it's not too late. Every day, more people make shocking discoveries in their change jars and coin rolls. Collectors scour bank boxes and thrift store jars in search of that elusive piece. And history has shown that the market for rare pennies is only growing. When one record-breaking sale hits the headlines, it sparks a frenzy. Demand skyrockets, prices climb, and suddenly, that ordinary coin looks like a winning lottery ticket. Now here's the part most people don't realize. The market for rare coins thrives on urgency. The longer you wait to check your coins, the greater the risk that you'll spend or lose them by accident. Somewhere right now, someone is tossing a rare 1987 into a vending machine, completely unaware. Could that person be you? And let me throw in a little twist of humor to break the tension. Imagine buying a pack of gum with a penny that could have bought you the entire candy store. Funny, until you realize it could happen. So, what should you be looking for? Start by pulling out any 1987 pennies. Flip them over, look beneath the year, and check for that D-mint mark. From there, examine the details. Does it shine like it was just struck yesterday? Does it have unusual markings, doubling, or off-center strikes? Even small errors can raise the value dramatically. And if you think you've found something truly special, don't trust your eyes alone. Send it to a professional grading service. Because in this game, authentication is everything. Here's another revelation that might surprise you. Some of the highest sales weren't even about dramatic minting errors. They were about sheer perfection. Coins that had been preserved immaculately, with surfaces so flawless they seemed frozen in time. That means the penny sitting in an old jar in your attic could be a silent fortune waiting to be uncovered. Isn't that a thrilling thought? And just when you think you've heard it all, remember this. The coin market is not just about collectors. It's about investors. Wealthy buyers are snapping up rare coins as alternative assets, hedges against inflation, and trophies of rarity. To them, owning a rare 1987 penny isn't about small change, it's about prestige and long-term value, which means the demand isn't going away. Now let me leave you with this final cliffhanger, because this is where the story shifts from possibility to decision. Imagine, right now, a box of pennies you've ignored for years. Somewhere in there could be a coin worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. The only question is, will you let it sit there, collecting dust? Or will you seize the opportunity to uncover it before someone else does? History has proven that fortunes often hide in the smallest, most overlooked places. And nothing embodies that truth more perfectly than the 1987 Lincoln cent. Don't underestimate it. Don't ignore it. Because the next time a headline screams about a penny selling for $1 million, wouldn't you want that story to be yours? So check your pockets, your drawers, your jars, and your piggy banks. Look carefully, and look now. Because one penny, one single cent, could be the turning point between ordinary life and extraordinary fortune. And remember, sometimes the difference between wealth and waste is simply the wisdom to look a little closer. Now, before you shake your head and think, "Come on, it's just a penny," let me remind you, fortunes have been made on smaller things. People have paid millions for postage stamps, baseball cards, even misprinted Peckerman cards. Why not a coin? The truth is, one of the most unassuming coins of modern America, the 2007 Denver minted Lincoln cent, has shocked collectors and stunned the market with reported sales climbing as high as $777,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny less than the cost of a gumball fetching a price greater, and most homes in America. And here's the real kicker. There are still more out there. In circulation, in coffee cans, in junk drawers, in old change jars forgotten in attics. The possibility that you've already touched one and let it slip through your fingers is not just likely. It's almost chilling. So why is this penny so special? Why would the numismatic world, the serious, calculating coin dealers and collectors, go absolutely wild over a coin you and I would walk past on the sidewalk? To understand that, we need to peel back layers of history, rarity, and human psychology. First, let's talk about the D. That little letter beneath the year 2007 stands for Denver. The U.S. Mint facility that struck these coins. Normally, Denver pennies are about as common as dirt. Billions roll off the presses every year, destined for vending machines and cash registers. But here's where the story bends. Like diamonds in a mine, not all coins are created equal. Some emerge with microscopic flaws, odd die strikes, or minting anomalies that make them truly unique. And in the world of coin collecting, uniqueness equals value. Now, you might wonder, how valuable can a small imperfection really be? Here's the surprising truth. Sometimes those so-called mistakes are what drive collectors into frenzies. In fact, history is full of examples. The 1943 copper penny, a mistake from World War II, sold for over $1 million. The 1955 double-die Lincoln sent a coin where the date looks doubled. It's worth tens of thousands even in worn condition. These errors turn everyday change into lottery tickets. And the 2007 D cent. It's one of the crown jewels of this phenomenon. Here's where it gets even more fascinating. The most coveted 2007 D pennies aren't necessarily the ones in average pocket change condition. Collectors salivate over specimens that appear nearly flawless, shiny, crisp, untouched by circulation. Coins like this are graded on a meticulous scale, where even the smallest nick or scratch can drop the value dramatically. The ones that hit the top of the scale, called Mint State 69 or Mint State 70, are considered museum grade. In those conditions, this humble Denver penny has shattered expectations. Market records show a single example hammering down at a jaw-dropping $777,000. Can you imagine being the person who walked into that auction? A crowd of serious collectors, hearts pounding, hands twitching as bidding climbed higher and higher. Imagine watching the numbers leap from thousands to tens of thousands. Wow. Then into the hundreds of thousands, all over a coin the size of your thumbnail. At the final gavel strike, one lucky seller walked away with a life-changing sum. And it all began with a penny. But here's the twist that should make you sit up a little straighter. That 2007 D penny wasn't born in a vacuum. It didn't come from some secret vault or hidden minting experiment. It came from the same presses that produced billions of other pennies. Meaning others could still exist waiting to be discovered in bank rolls, in pocket change, or tucked away in an old coin collection passed down through family. It's not a fantasy. It's a reality that many collectors quietly chase every single day. Think about it. What if your spare change jar holds one of these hidden gems? What if the coin sitting at the bottom of your car's cup holder is worth more than your car itself? These aren't wild hypotheticals. They're the haunting possibilities that keep collectors searching, flipping, examining every coin with trembling anticipation. Now, let's pause for a moment. You may be thinking, all right, I get it. Some coins are valuable. But how do I, an ordinary person, actually recognize one of these treasures? Excellent question. The first step is awareness. Many people overlook their coins because they simply don't know what to look for. And knowledge, in this case, truly is money. Start with the date, 2007. Next, the mint mark. That small d beneath the year. Then comes condition. Is the coin bright and crisp or dull and scratched? The brighter and sharper it looks, the better. But beyond that, rare varieties, die errors, or double details can push values into the stratosphere. Some 2007 D pennies show oddities like doubled letters in God We Trust, distorted mint marks, or subtle misalignments in the design. To the untrained eye, they look like nothing. To a collector, they're jackpots. Here's the ironic twist. The very coin you might dismiss as just a penny could secretly hold the power to pay off your mortgage, fund your retirement, or cover college tuition for your children. And the tragedy, Most people will never realize it. They'll spend it without a second thought, losing out on a fortune. That fear, that haunting, what if I already had one and lost it, should give you goosebumps. But let's not stop at fear. Let's pivot to excitement. Imagine being the one who does notice. Imagine pulling a coin from a pile of change, spotting that date, examining the condition, and realizing you've struck gold without ever touching a shovel. That moment of recognition. That instant when you realize you're holding something worth hundreds of thousands is the kind of thrill collectors live for. And you don't have to be a lifelong numismatist to experience it. You just have to pay attention. Of course, this is where the urgency comes in. Coins like the 2007 D cent don't remain hidden forever. Every day, more people discover them, sell them, and remove them from circulation permanently. Each one that enters a private collection is one less chance for you to stumble upon it. The window of opportunity is shrinking. If you wait, if you shrug it off, the odds get slimmer by the year. Let me share a sobering truth. Back in 1955, when the double-die Lincoln penny first emerged, thousands slipped into circulation. Collectors snatched them up. Today, finding one in your change is nearly impossible, and those who do are considered incredibly lucky. What does that mean for you? That the 2007 D penny is on the same trajectory. Right now, they're out there. In a few years, they could be virtually gone. The chance is now, but perhaps the most compelling aspect is this. You don't need to invest money to hunt for one. You don't need to buy rare coins from dealers or bid at auctions. You just need to check the pennies that already pass through your hands. It costs nothing, but the potential upside is staggering. Where else in life do you get odds like that? So let me ask you directly, when was the last time you actually looked at your pennies? When was the last time you turned one over, examined the date, and studied the mint mark? Most people can't even remember. We've trained ourselves to overlook them, to see them as worthless. But that habit, that dismissal, is exactly why opportunities slip away. Now, I'm not here to promise that every 2007 D penny will make you a millionaire. Most are worth face value. Some in pristine condition might fetch a few dollars. But the rare ones, the top-graded specimens, the unique errors, those are the ones that break records. And even if you never find the crown jewel, cultivating the habit of checking your change can still uncover surprising treasures. Countless stories exist of people finding rare wheat pennies, silver dimes, and error quarters worth hundreds or thousands, all mixed in with ordinary pocket change. So here's the real question. Are you going to let the next opportunity pass you by? Or are you going to start looking, start paying attention, and maybe, just maybe, stumble onto the find of a lifetime? Picture the moment. You're sitting at your kitchen table, sorting through some loose change. Suddenly, your eyes catch it. 2007. A little D. You hold it up to the light, your pulse quickening. The edges are sharp, the shine is brilliant. You begin to realize, this could be it. You rush to get it graded, your heart pounding as experts confirm what you dared to dream. And then, Months later, you stand at an auction as the bidding climbs. 10,000, 50,000, 100,000. The room falls silent as the gavel strikes. Sold. And you walk out with a check that changes your life forever. It might sound like a fairy tale, but for someone out there, it's reality. And the only difference between them and you is whether they paid attention. So the next time you hear that clink of change in your pocket, don't ignore it. Don't let another penny slip away unnoticed. Because in that small piece of copper could lie not just history, not just rarity, but the chance to rewrite your future. The 2007D Lincoln cent is more than a coin. It's a reminder that fortune favors the observant, that opportunity often hides in plain sight, and that sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest value. So what will you do? Will you walk past the pennies on the sidewalk? Or will you stop, pick them up, and look closer? Because the truth is, the next millionaire-making penny could already be in your hands.